رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله واللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين. Allah Azza wa Jal describes a scenario and comments on a scenario that the Prophet ﷺ was going through. And I want to summarize just some highlights of what the Prophet was going through at this time ﷺ. When our messenger was delivering Islam in the city of Mecca, early on he was met with ridicule. But later on, it wasn't just ridicule. He was constantly being criticized. He wasn't just being dismissed. Now he was also being attacked. Anybody who believed in him was also being socially isolated, boycotted, made fun of, physically beat up at times, insulted and humiliated. And the people who were doing that were some of the most powerful and influential people in Mecca. So it's not like everybody's doing it, but the people that are doing it are very, very powerful. So the normal people, the average people of Mecca, even if they don't like it, they can't say anything because they don't want to mess with influential people, you see? Because the bullies in this situation were actually pretty powerful and pretty influential. They had servants, they had entire clans under them, they had a lot of money behind them. And on the other hand is the Prophet ﷺ, who has none of those things. He doesn't have a huge amount of influence, he doesn't have money, he doesn't have resources. And he's the one being degraded and humiliated all the time. And in such a scenario, you feel unprotected if you side with someone who doesn't have any backing. You know, the tribal wars were all about who's got a stronger back, right? And you want to be associated with people that have more protection. And so the people that were in leadership in Quraysh had more protection. And so, you don't want to mess with them. And clearly you don't want to side with the Prophet ﷺ. Even people that were thinking about accepting the call of Islam had to think twice, because it's not just I accept these ideas. If I accept this, I'm going to be thrown under the bus like them, and I'll have no protection. And even if I have protection now, if I have my family that respects me and will take care of me and will spend on me now, if I accept Islam, I'll lose all of that. I'm going to lose that protection also. So actually being Islam was associated with being without any protection, being open to attack. And in response to all of that, Allah revealed in Surah Al-A'raf this remarkable ayah. He says to have the Prophet ﷺ declare, Inna waliyyi Allah. No doubt about it, my protective friend who is always by my side is Allah. I don't need your protection. I don't need any other manpower next to me. I don't need people next to me. I don't need money next to me. The word wali in Arabic, which I'm translating here as protective friend, I added in the translation next to me. Because wali comes from the verb wala or waliya yali, which means to be next to something. And from it you also get the word tali, the one that's right after something. The idea that Allah is never absent, is always next to me, and is constantly there next to me. It's an ism sifa, wali. It's on fa'il. My constant companion and protector is in fact Allah. Now, I wanted to highlight that because we may not be in Mecca, and we may not be attacked by the Quraysh, but there are times in your life and mine where you feel that you're being attacked by other people. And you feel that those that may be attacking you, or those that may be insulting you, or those that may be a threat to you, have a lot more influence than you do, have a lot more power than you do, have a lot more reach than you do, and you feel unprotected. And it is in times like that, Allah reminds you and me first and foremost that my wali is Allah. But it's not just about people attacking. What I wanted to highlight is a phenomenon in Muslim culture that's actually a really it's a threat to our faith. It's a threat to our relationship with Allah Himself. One of the most fundamental components of my relationship and your relationship with Allah is that He is our protector. That He protects us. Nothing else, no one else can protect us when Allah protects us. And nothing else can save us when Allah wants some harm coming our way. When Allah Azza wa Jal wants good for someone, no one can stop it. And when He wants that something should be afflicting you, قُلْ لَن يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. We declare, nothing will strike us except for what Allah has decreed or written for us. And it's interesting, in that ayah, we didn't even say what He has written against us. We said what He has written for us. In other words, even a bad experience is going to have some good in it, whether we get it or not. But we're going to attribute good to Allah. إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. He's the one that's protecting us, guarding us, securing us. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And Allah alone, believers should be placing their trust. So what is this threat that I'm talking about that can undercut our entire faith? What happens a lot of times in other religions, let's not talk about Islam for a second. In other religions, when somebody gets into trouble, they grab on an amulet. They grab on a crucifix, or they grab on some kind of a charm, some kind of a thing. And they say, well, this thing protects me. This ring that I'm wearing protects me. This band that I have around my wrist, it protects me. This locket that I have protects me. Or this book that I've put in my dashboard protects me. You understand? Or if I go and I do sprinkle this kind of water on myself, that special water is going to protect me. There's physical things in other religions, physical things that people start attributing, they have supernatural protective powers. And if I have those things, then I'll be protected somehow. Now, some of that made its way into even Muslim thinking. That we started believing in objects that have special powers. Which is why you find people go to Umrah and they go to Hajj and they sneak in a pair of scissors. And when they get to the Kaaba, they'll cut out a little bit of the cloth and bring it home. And every time they get, sinus infection, rub it on their forehead because it's going to get rid of all their problems. Now they're believing that because this cloth was touching the Kaaba, that somehow this cloth has supernatural powers. And it's going to heal them. The thing is, now you're looking at protection from things. And you're starting to lose your connection from the idea that Allah Himself is the one who protects. And sometimes this idea, instead of and people do this thinking that they're doing something religious, but actually this is taking you away from the religion. This is taking you away from Inna waliyyi Allah. My only protector, the one next to me, is in fact Allah.